Welcome to John Esser Sports Channel. Yeah, no, this is absolutely insane, isn't it? Insanity continues on this channel with the Championship predictions for 25-26. Yeah, we haven't even got the final over with yet, so we've had to sneak in Sheffield United or Sunderland somewhere, which is actually really difficult because I think both of these teams would be different when they lose. I think Sheffield United could lose this and be. I think they could do the usual loser in the final job and drop down the table quite dramatically. Whereas I think Sunderland, if they lost in the final, they wouldn't quite drop quite as low. So I had to take this a little bit carefully, and I've put them where I think on average the two may finish, but it could be quite far apart. So there are one or two things like that we have to sort of think about, including League One promotion. We've no idea who's even in the final in League One yet. So, that's going to be an interesting one. But I've looked at what people are thinking early on. I've looked at a few videos. And yeah, I think we're sort of in the right ballpark. I think we're sort of thinking the same things. And we'll go through now We'll go through from 24th position. Let's go from the bottom, why not? And we'll go up where we think the positions are that you'll finish. Now, I'll be quite honest, I did this ad hoc, putting them where I think each team would finish, and I had a massive gap at the bottom of the league thinking, shit, they all should do a lot better than that. And I couldn't fill in the bottom 7 or 8 positions because, hey, they'll finish higher this season. They'll finish, and it really is very, very difficult. But we've managed to come up with it. Now in 24th position, I've got a team that you would probably be thinking, yeah, I can see those at the bottom, and a lot of people are putting this team at the bottom, and it's Hull City. Hull City finished in 21st position, literally out of the bottom three on goal difference. Looking at their record, there far too many draws, I think, although Preston actually beat them on the draws, didn't they? I think this team could struggle this year. They've not got a brilliant team. They've got a good team. There are some really good players in there. But I think that, like I said, the ones around them can do so much better, can't they? So in 24th position, I have Hull City. In 23rd, now this is really, really difficult now because now I'm thinking the next 2, 3, 4 or even 5 positions could all be quite flexible here. But they're all slightly different teams, all slightly different types of play. The game plan will be different from each one of these next 5. I've got in 23rd position, I hate putting them here, but I can't think of who else. I've got Stoke City. Stoke City obviously managed to pull out and be in 18th position, but finishing on 51 points, and I really didn't think they'd get that high. This team has a few issues to cope with. Will it fill some of those gaps that they obviously had, especially in defence? Will they seal those up a little bit better this season? And that front line has to be more consistent. It can be brilliant, it really can. Rather like the Preston side, which I'm afraid is somewhere around here. And I think they have to be more consistent up front. They have to have a more solid back end. Will they do that over the summer period? I do hope so. Well, I'm not looking at any of the released statements from any of these sides because not all of them are in at the minute as we take this video. So in 23rd position, thinking that not much is going to change and that they might just heal some of those issues over the summer, but not all of them. I've got in 23rd position, Stoke City. In 22nd position, a really, really difficult decision to make this, but I've got whoever finishes in that third slot in League One. So whoever wins the playoff final in League One, I think that the difference between that sort of standard play and the play in the Championship is so great. And my side know that, being the archetypal yo-yo side that they used to be. Unfortunately, they're not that now. So I think that there's not much to say about this. I think it's just the gap. This team may finish in the bottom position. So in 22nd, I've got whoever wins the League One final. However, depending on who it is, I think that this team could actually finish 24th. It's really, really difficult. I have my thoughts on it. I'll keep them quiet, but if we have a shock win in the League One final, then I would be thinking, wow, they're going to they won't even reach 22nd. They could reach 24th. But if it's one of the better two sides in there, I think that they could actually sneak up as far as 22nd. But I think they'd have it really, really difficult after that. So 22nd, League One finalists. In 21st position, I said they were down here. It's a side that finished 20th last season on 50 points. They struggled at the beginning. Then they played really well, and they did go up that table quite significantly. And they looked like they could just get into that bottom of the top half. But then they started playing poorly again. But they're quite consistent. They were never really good, and they were never really bad. They just fluctuated a little bit during the season. And I've got in 21st position. I've got Stoke. I've got Preston North End. I can't put Stoke in two places, can I? I've got Preston North End purely based on the fact that I can't put anybody else there. It's really, really hard. I think that Preston are going to have to make this really consistent side a step better, and I don't even think that this side has to change very much. I think this side could stay with what they've got and finish mid-table. But they were consistently about for me they were consistently around 18th. If you look at their the standard of play, 18th, 17th, they were sort of decent enough to be able to stay up easily. Presumably, obviously wasn't the case at the end of the day. They were pretty close, weren't they? I think that this side finished 20th. I think that they will finish in 21st. I can't see them doing it, but like I said, if they can get this consistency, that it really is. I don't think they need to change the team. I think that team is actually really good enough to be in the middle of the table. Can they get that really level performance up one notch? If they can just get it up one notch, there's a certain few teams above them that I think that they can quite easily beat repetitively and consistently. So in 21st position, I got Preston North End. In 20th, there's not a lot I can say about this team. It's Oxford United. Now, Oxford United finishing 17th. They were clear of that relegation zone for quite a while, having been in it or around it for quite a while. They changed the managerial positions there, and everybody looked at them and said, "What are you doing? You're okay. You're free of it." And then all of a sudden they showed that drop that they were doing just kept continuing, and they managed to pull away. I think that this team can do another escape this year, but I'm a little bit worried that Oxford are could be one of these teams that go up from League One, do really well in the first year, and then drop back down into the fight in the second year to try and stay up. And that 1 year success when other teams aren't quite knowing how they play and how their game plan tends to be, and tends to enable those teams going up sometimes to get a lot higher than what they really should be. And then when they get used to how to play them, bang, second year they drop back down. Happens quite a lot if you look at the statistics. I think that Oxford are going to finish 20th. They could finish lower than this. They could finish in the bottom three. But I think that they've got a really good management team up there now, and that team should be able to keep them out of that relegation zone. So in 20th position, I've got Oxford United. In 19th, and I'm afraid it's going to have to be one that my team dislikes immensely, it's going to be the Owls. It's going to be Sheffield Wednesday. I really really did see something good in this team, and they were really, really good in parts. The problem I have is that even if they stay exactly as they are, there's so many teams in there that are going to be improving just a little bit. And so many teams that can improve just a little bit, and that are showing that they will and they want to. That I think that Sheffield Wednesday, if they stay where they are, won't stay where they finished now, which is 12th. I remember how they finished this season. They finished that last season dropping down quite significantly at one point, and then they sort of regained a few places right at the end. I think that Sheffield Wednesday will find this a little bit difficult, mainly because the teams around them. Just look at the ones I'm putting around them for one start. So in 19th position, I've got Sheffield Wednesday. In 18th, I'm going to go for another team doing a Luton Town. Now, which one would I go for to do a Luton Town? I don't think they're going to get relegated. Absolutely not. But I think that the team that they've got up there is not that great. I don't think that when they come down, they'll be writing any record books. I don't really see them changing a hell of a lot. And I just can't see them succeeding against some of these sides in the middle that I've got. A little bit dark arts, one or two of them. Can that Southampton team play against that? I really don't think they can. In 18th position, I've got Southampton. In 17th, after that shock, we'll move up. Please do like and subscribe. Keep me going, because we're very close to shutting the channel down. Believe me. So in 17th position, we have Derby County. Now, Derby County finished in 19th. I think they'd be happy with the 17th, to be quite honest. They were really, really poor when they came up under Warne. He's never really done that well until the season that Derby pinched him from Rotherham. That was the only season he did well in the Championship. We were in 5th position, I think, when Derby stole him from us. Didn't do very well. Changed manager, and they did really well. But they were still not brilliant. But they've got some really, really top quality League One players. And that's my issue. They've got some really good quality League One players still. Can't see unless they change. They would have, for me, they'd have to do a wholesale change. Not like the Preston side, which I think just need the same players playing a little bit differently, a little bit more heart. One notch up. I think the Derby County side really, they have a really good set of League One players. They need to change it, I think, if they want to be any higher than this position. They're going to have to do a wholesale change. Derby County fans, tell me what you think, because at the minute, and wait for the teams I've got above you and think about it, are you better than them at the minute? 17th position, Derby County. 16th, a side that has got all the quality of a poor Premier League team. Now, I say that tongue-in-cheek. They have been up there recently, semi-recently. It's Norwich City. I think that Norwich played a poor game last season. They've got the players to play better than that, but they just haven't done it. Can a change really happen over summer and new players come in and the deadwood go out? Yes, it can. Would it make a difference? Well, this Norwich are a team that can turn things around very, very quickly. They have they should have a good financial base, being ex-Premier League side. So they could change this. If this side was to change, it would certainly be on the upward motion. Where the heavens I would put them, it could be anywhere up to sort of 5th position, because the next sides are all so even, guys. It's an absolute nightmare. So in 16th position, I've got Norwich City. In 15th, it was a side that did, and Norwich finished in 13th, of course. In in 15th. I've got a side that finished in 7th. But I always said, didn't I? Through this year, I said, look, they're playing the same standard football. They're just getting the run of the green. Every week, they get the run of the green. They get the call. They get the right call from the referee or the linesman. One that they wouldn't have got if they'd have been in the bottom 3. Let's face it. But they weren't. They were in the top half for so long. I've got Blackburn. Blackburn played some pretty average football for me, but they just got the run of the green. Can't see that. Well, it shouldn't be happening 2 seasons in a row. Can't see it happening 2 seasons in a row. I think that they just happened to get the run of the green from the beginning, and where they were just meant that whenever there was a 50-50 decision, they got it. Don't think it'll happen next season. It could happen. It could absolutely happen, but I can't see it. There's too many good sides wanting to make sure they stay in this division. Certainly on the beach by just after Easter. That's what they'll be looking for, these teams that we're going to next. So in 15th position, I've got Blackburn Rovers. In 14th, that's my first side up from League One. This side will pay to stay in the league. They'll be hoping to go straight into the Premier League. I've got Hollywood FC. Sorry, Wrexham. I got Wrexham, and the reason why I got Wrexham is because there's a huge difference between League One and the Championship. Wrexham are trying to get some really Premier League class players, aren't they? So, will they get Vardy? Who knows? I think that Wrexham are going to be trying to get 1 or 2 really class names in that squad, but they're also going to be trying to make sure that they don't hit the financial fair play, because when they put their accounts in sort of October, November, they're going to be thinking, how much have we spent in the last 2 years? And in the last 3 years, to be able to give that those financial figures to the EFL, and they're going to be judged on that. So they're going to be thinking, how much can we spend up to the release of our financial statement in October? So they're going to be a little bit jaded, a little bit thinking about the finances here for the first time. Remember, they haven't had to. You don't have to in League One. So it's going to be interesting. Can they get higher than this? Absolutely. They could do what Birmingham are trying, put out a side that is lower Premier League class. That's what they did in League Two. They put together a side when they went up that was top League One, or just about top League One, and I can see them doing the same here. Let's put up a side when we go up into the Championship that's sort of 6th, 7th, 5th area of expertise, and I can see them trying to do that. Will it work? I think there's too many other teams here that know how to play some damn good football and know how to defend against sides that play like Wrexham do. And, I can't see the style changing very much. I think that style of play is really good in League One. It will work in your first year, and this is where I'm thinking they may be one of these sides that do really well in the first year, and then next year they'll be a lot further down the league. I don't know. We'll see how it goes in the first year first, shall we? I think Wrexham. So I've got 14th position, Wrexham. And in 13th, you see who they're with. We've got Watford. Now, Watford last year, they finished reasonably well, I think. Watford, where did they finish? Can't find them. In 14th position. I've got them in 14th. So hell, I'm not moving them at all. I can't see them doing much difference here. They would really have to change this somehow, because everyone else is also trying to just at this point in the table, just trying to keep with the other teams so that they don't drop into the bottom half. That's what the plan is for most of these teams in the middle. Not all of them. Some want to jump into the top 6. But a lot of them just want to be stable. Hell, just don't go down. Whatever we do, we don't want to go down. There's too many really top-class teams in this division to really think about getting into the top 6 for some of them in the middle. So a lot of those in the middle, let's stay safe and let's improve a little bit. I can see Watford needing to do. They need 1 or 2 really marquee signings, don't they? If they can get 1 or 2 marquee signings, I think that they could do a lot better. But in 13th, I've got Watford. In 12th, probably a surprise, I've got a team that finished 15th. I've got QPR. I think QPR will be doing better this season. And then one of these that I put in there and then thought, I'm going to have to drop them back down because there's too many other teams also doing equally better this season, I think. So QPR finished in 12 purely because there's a lot of good teams above them and a lot of teams that are trying to clear out and move new people in. So I think QPR will have a stable season. They had a pretty stable season this year, to be honest, and I think that it will continue in the same vein as we go into 25, 26, 12th position, QPR. In 11th, we've got Swansea City. Now, I know a lot of people, they finished 11th, and I know a lot of people said, at the beginning, they looked really good. Then they looked a bit rubbish for a while, and then they really, the end of the year wasn't that brilliant. That was a great surge from them. They showed me what they could do. This is one of those teams I had higher up. I had a lot higher up than 11th. Believe me. I've got them 11th. It just happens to be where they finished this season, 11th. Yeah, I put them to finish a lot higher because they finished so well and showed us what they could really do. I want to put them higher, guys. I really do. So Swansea fans, tell me where you think you're going to finish. Like and subscribe. Tell me where you finish. You're thinking you're going to finish, because I tried to put you higher. I just couldn't. It's manic after this. It really is. So 11th, I've got Swansea City. And the reason is, in 10th position, I've got Portsmouth FC. Now, Portsmouth finished in 16th, but they really did show that they could play a little bit clever. They weren't so good with people attacking down their left wing. So it's one position, guy. All they need is just one position to solidify that defence on the wings, particularly on the right wing, to stop them attacking down the left. Shouldn't be too difficult. There's 1 or 2 good Championship defenders available at the minute that you can get into that position. I think that they will. I think that if they can do that, then their main bugbear from last season is basically gone. They play sometimes a little bit dark arts. Okay, I'll agree with that. So it's going to be interesting to see whether it works in a second year in a row. I think it will. In 10th position, I got Portsmouth FC. Well done, guys. I think you've done really well. In 9th position, and this is one I had to squeeze this one in. At the end, I had 4 teams I had to squeeze in. Where on earth am I going to put these? And it's Borough. Middlesbrough, they finished 10th. I've got them finishing 9th. Look, there's so many good teams between here and 4th. 4th and 5th. Where the hell do you put them all, guys? 9th, I've got Middlesbrough. I think that they did well. They've got a good team, financially strong. They could go out there, and they probably will go out there and get a couple of really good marquee signings. But the size of squad, the range of skills, really, really excellent. But I just don't see the top class players in there. I see some really, really good players that can probably improve over the next 2 or 3 years. But you're going to have to keep them and improve them and develop them, and not just get rid of them at the end of the season when they've not improved quite enough to get us in the top 6. I think that this may be a holding year for Middlesbrough, and I've got in 9th position Middlesbrough. In 8th, a team that I really, really found difficult to put in was Bristol City. Now, the reason why I've put Bristol City here is the difference between them and Sheffield United, the difference in class between them and Ipswich and Leicester, even West Brom, even Birmingham. They really are class guys. And I'm thinking that with such a small squad, and they have got a small squad, they've done damn well. Can they do it 2 seasons in a row? I hope they can. I hope you prove me wrong and you end up again in that top 6. But there's too many sides of Premier League quality coming up, and I really cannot see them squeezing into that top 6 this year. In 8th position, I've got Bristol City, mainly because of the size of squad. If we can increase that size and get some depth, I think that the depth would be absolutely a great place to build from. In 7th position, I've got a side, if I can try and find them, that finished 8th. So I've got Millwall. Now, Millwall, they were fluctuating all the way through the season, weren't they? I want some consistency from this team. This team can make it into the top somewhere, I should think somewhere between 4th and 7th if they can really get some consistency. But this season, just gone, I think the consistency wasn't there. In 7th position, I've got Millwall. So we go into 6th and just sneaking into the playoff positions, probably on goal difference or something really, really insane like that. I've got my other team up from League One. I've got Birmingham. They've got some really good players there. If they can keep those players and they can keep them playing top notch, believe me, the players that they're looking at to add to that to their list aren't Championship players. They're Premier League players. They're going to be they're going to be an entity to fight with, aren't they? Really, really strong. How much they've spent may be a little bit difficult when they put in their accounts in October. Be very, very careful. Although I don't think they've actually spent anywhere near it in League One. They very nicely spread the payments over several years so that they could not get near financial fair play. Very well done, the Birmingham accountant, whoever that is done a really good job there. I think in 6th position, Birmingham FC. In 5th, and we're starting to see the teams that are regularly up there, or we would expect to be up there now. And I think there's no doubt about it. I've chosen a team in 5th that finished in 9th. And they finished they've regularly finished just around that 5th, 6th, 7th position. I was quite surprised they finished as low as 9th, to be quite honest. I think that West Brom had a really good defensive record. Really, really good. However, they just couldn't get. It was Drawthorns for several weeks or months, wasn't it? They've got to stop doing these draws. If they can get even a few wins out of these draws, even last season they would have been right up in those top 4 positions. But they just drew so many games, and I can just see this team doing something about it. It was far too regular for me, and the management are going to be looking at it and thinking, how do we stop these draws that we had last season, because that's what killed us off. And I think that they will do it. And I think that some of the West Brom fans out there, please like and subscribe. Tell me what you think, because tell me where you're going to finish, because also West Brom could finish higher than this. However, look at who I've got above them. And in 4th position, so in 5th position, I've got West Brom. In 4th position, we have either Sheffield United or Sunderland. I'm going to come to this really quickly because I don't want to go too much over 32 minutes. Sheffield United, if they lose, I think they're going to drop quite distinctly, because I just think that the losing finalist usually has a really poor year the next year, and I can just see Sheffield United doing that. But if Sunderland lose, and Sunderland are in the Championship and losing the final, I can't see them being hit quite as bad. They're not the sort of side that would do that. They've just come up, a few years back they were in League One, and they've gone in and gone straight to the top bit of the table. I think Sunderland will be around 4th, even if they are in. If Sheffield United are in, I got this position could be slightly lower. So in 4th position, I've got Sheffield United or Sunderland. In 3rd, I'm finishing just outside those top 2. I've got Coventry FC. I think Coventry City, I've got Coventry City, and I think Coventry City finished 5th. They finished really quite decent, but they were so inconsistent all the way to the end. They were just not quite as consistent as they need to be. Can they get that consistency? So they weren't as good. Like the back line against Portsmouth, for instance, I remember seeing that and thinking, that's not the Coventry that I know. They don't usually play as badly as that in the back line, waiting for you to attack and go straight through you. I think that they also will sort this out, much like West Brom will, their draws. I think that in 3rd position we have Coventry City. Now, obviously, this yo-yoing between Premier and the Championship, I can't see it stopping overnight. The parachute payments are far too great, and I think that Ipswich and Leicester certainly have to be in the top 2. I think it's a case of which way around. Now, if Vardy does leave and go to Wrexham, I think this may be a sign of, we need to now start thinking fresh up front. Can they bring up more firepower? Yes, I think they can. They've got the money to do it anyway, haven't they? So I don't think it'll make too much difference to Leicester. It would make a big difference to Wrexham if he goes to Wrexham. But will he do a big difference? Well, will it make a difference losing him in the Leicester squad? I don't think it'll make too much of a difference. I think that in 2nd place I have Leicester City. And of course that leaves me with the 1st position. Now, strangely enough, I've got Ipswich, obviously, because they're the only one left. In 1st position, I've got Ipswich. Why have I got Ipswich? Because Ipswich, to me, showed that they could actually compete in the Premier League. They almost showed me that they could stay up if they could just muster a little bit more class and a little bit more ability. But they've got the parachute payments as well, and I'm absolutely certain that team can and will use that very, very well. So in 1st position, guys, we've got Ipswich Town, and that is my insanely, ridiculously early Championship predictions. Please do like and subscribe. Keep me afloat, guys, because I do need it at the minute. Please do like and subscribe, and you'll see more of John Estes Sports Channel. Over and out. Like and subscribe.